Hey everybody, and thank you for joining us for a free Assange online vigil. This is week number 96. With me tonight, I have co-host Misty Winston and our wonderful guest Cathy Vogan. Before we get in, though, I do want to run through the numbers as they stand right now. We have 3,794 days since the illegal and arbitrary detention of Julian Assange started. We have 756 days since the WikiLeaks founder was trafficked from the Ecuadorian embassy to Belmarsh prison after being sold for a $4.2 billion international monetary fund loan to the nation of Ecuador. We have 120 days since the January 6th ruling denying Julian Assange bail after ordering no extradition, and Vanessa Baretzer personally ordered his release. We have 1,419 days of federal incarceration for whistleblower Reality Winner. We have 1,349 days of inhumane detention for the alleged Vault 7 whistleblower Joshua Schultz, and at least 932 of those days have been spent in special administrative measures. We have 755 days since the political persecution of Ola Bini started at the hands of the Ecuadorian government. In the two pieces of good news, Chelsea Manning has been free for 412 days, and Jeremy Hammond has been out of any penitentiary or halfway house for the last 59. So with that, how are you doing today, Misty?
I am doing very well. It's been
I've been having a lot of technical issues. But we did have our first spring thunderstorm, which makes me very happy. So yeah, I'm doing okay, I guess, all around. How about you?
Oh, just living life, having fun. Speaking of fun,
Dealing
how are
with
you
raccoon
today,
poops.
Cathy? I'm super excited to have you join us.
Well, I'm not my usual self because I have been editing day and night for the last, I don't know, nearly a week. Don't mention that name, Deeper Driver. she persuaded me to make a film for the Whistleblowing Festival that's coming up this weekend, and that's it's a lot of animation and graphics, and you know, it's
A lot of work.
big job that I can chew, really. Well, no, not really, but because I know I just keep going till it's done. But it's such a big job. But I've got so many other things on this week as well. We've got a CN Live coming, an episode on the 7th called "The Future of Racism" with Garland Nixon and Margaret Kimberley.
Nice.
And
Oh,
that's the day
wow.
before. So that's a discussion, that comes off the decision over George Floyd's murder and Derek Chauvin's verdict. So and just the much wider context, of course. So that's
Those are
all.
two amazing guests. I love both of those people.
Yes. And Garland used to be a policeman, so that's what makes it very interesting.
I got to meet him when we were in DC the last time, and he's a really lovely guy. He's very nice. And he was a lot of fun to talk to. Because he's all about Zen. If you don't know Garland Nixon, he's all about Zen. And I don't know if you noticed, I am not. So he was trying to give me some pointers on how to find my Zen, which I appreciate
right.
very much.
Find it. Can you send me a bit as well?
Yeah,
Oh
I
God,
was
right?
asking
Wouldn't
him.
that be nice?
I know. I was asking him how to achieve some Zen because my brain doesn't function in that way. So yeah, he's very awesome. So that'll be a great show. And I'm really looking forward to the whistleblowing event. For anybody who may not know, we interviewed Deepa about this on Saturday. But a bunch of people are organizing an unbelievable, I can't tell you how cool this event is going to be. I feel like Deepa, I feel like the hype man because it really is. If you go to the website, which we can put in the chat and we can link to and all that good stuff. But if you go to the website, the list of speakers and participants is unreal. It's like a who's who of cool people. And it's on this coming Saturday on May 8th. So yeah, everybody should definitely check that out. I'm really excited to see the film that you're putting together. And all the other speakers. It's like, George Galloway, Max Blumenthal, just a ton. Just seriously, I can't, not even enough time for me to list them all. We tried to do it last time and it's a very extensive list of cool people. So everybody needs to set some time. It is like an all day, it's like 24 straight hours of awesomeness.
30.
So is it 30? Yeah. So, I
Yes,
mean, obviously,
I'm
I don't
going
expect you to stay awake for 30 hours. I mean, if you want to.
well, actually, now that you mention it, the reason that I'm in such a hurry is that I have to finish, pre-record mine because I'm going to be busy streaming the event for the 30 hours this weekend. So, yeah, it has to be finished a bit early.
Yeah, I mean, it's seriously going to be so cool. So, I mean, and then obviously, I'm sure there will be clips of each individual speaker put up, you know, as they move along and as they get everything set up. And so that's going to be like a wealth of information and knowledge and resources. And I'm super excited for it. So everybody needs to check that out for sure.
Yeah, and it's on a different platform as well. You know, we're not using Zoom, we're using something else, another system, which is kind of outside of the Zoom sector. From what I gather, what I've seen of this platform, and I've had been sent a sort of a demo of it. It's used a lot for education, but it's a more private network than
Which we
Zoom.
love.
Yeah,
Always
and
good.
pretty secure. And we've got some. I'm pretty intrigued myself. Not that I know everything that's going to happen, but from what I've seen, there's some live whistleblowing going to happen.
Ooh, that's exciting. And then also Jeremy Hammond is going to be a speaker. And this will be really the first time that anybody's heard from him publicly since he got off house arrest and is, you know, obviously he's still on like a parole period, but it'll be the first time anybody he's spoken publicly that I know of since he got off of house arrest. So I'm really excited to hear how he's doing and, just how things are going for him. So I'm super interested to hear from him for sure.
And Deepa actually explained this weekend as essentially a show of force was her words, showing like not taking this event and making it happen over a couple weeks, but putting all of these powerhouse speakers together for a set 24-hour time period just shows the collective strength of the whistleblowing and truth communities. That I think it's going to be an amazing event no matter what. But the fact that there's so much and so many different ranges of whistleblowers from generations past to people that are just fresh out of jail, I think is going to be phenomenal.
And NHS, I saw an NHS whistleblower listed. So that's very interesting. I hope I'm not giving too much away here. But yeah, so I don't know all the people, but it's a very exciting lineup. It's a little bit similar to what Jeremy Corbyn was talking about, when he was on that Parliamentarians show. So he wanted to have a 24-hour broadcast from, done by all of the alternate media channels, news channels, and, I mean, factual. I suppose he meant factual. But to just bring all of the independents together to stream the one thing for 24 hours right around the world, in the interest of helping Julian Assange, of course. And those numbers are very, very depressing. When you read them out at the beginning of the show, they just keep adding up and adding up. And I just look back and I think, how is this still happening?
Well, the reason we put the numbers in the beginning of the show is to kind of do a callback to the way that the media was acting during the Vietnam War, where they were actively reading out the body counts of the American troops that were happening. And that's where the numbers got inspired from, is someone has to put it out there like this is an open war, and each one of these days these people have spent behind bars as a casualty.
Yes.
Well, that's right. I remember in the Chicago 7, that's I don't know if you saw the film, but at the end of the film, that's what one of the defendants, who is looking pretty good in the eyes of the judge. He looks like he might, the judge is saying he's got a great future and all that kind of thing. And then he just stands up and starts reading the names of all the dead. And I think it goes into the thousands as well. So that just, Andrew, Your screen is just blinking all the time now. It looks like the lights are about to go out.
It looks okay on my side. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks okay for me too. That's weird.
It may just be our hosting platform acting up a little bit.
Maybe.
Right. Oh,
If it
maybe
keeps
it's
going nuts, you can always jump out and jump back in. That generally fixes everything.
no, it's
Yeah.
okay. Just this mouse has got Parkinson's. In fact, every mouse has got Parkinson's.
Yes. Yeah,
So-
but there are some. I mean, I know I kind of mentioned like, okay, so I mentioned Max Blumenthal, Jonathan Cook, Marjorie Cohn, Claire Daly, who I love. I have such a lady crush on her. Let's see. Daniel Ellsberg, Andrew Feinstein. I'm not going to read them all because there's a lot. Andrew Fowler, George Galloway, I mentioned. Kevin Gostola, we love Kevin, friend of the show. Deepa, of course, who's one of my favorite people. Jeremy Hammond, like I mentioned. Selma James, who I love. Lissa Johnson. Let's see. Joe Loria, obviously. Stefania Marizzi, who I also adore. She is a badass. David McBride, who, if you guys aren't following the David McBride case in Australia, you should be. Ray McGovern, Grandpa Ray, we love him. Lori Love, who is another whistleblower. Craig Murray, everybody loves Craig Murray. Craig Murray also, I don't know if we're going to talk about this or not, Andrew, but Craig Murray released another article today asking for donations for his defense fund. If you are in a financial position to help him out, please do so. If you are not able to, that's okay. Share the link, because the more eyes on it, the more donations he gets, and he needs help. He's being railroaded.
We have that as the first link in the description, actually, and I turned it into a like 3 or 4 slide piece for later.
Okay, cool. I didn't know. I haven't had a chance to look at the show doc, so I didn't know if we decided to go over it or not. Juan Passarelli, who you guys know how much I love Juan. He's one of my favorite people too. Let's see who else. Norman Solomon, Serena Tenari, who's a really cool investigative journalist. Obviously Cathy, and she's got her film. Chris Williamson, Andy Worthington. So yeah, just a ton of really awesome, insightful, smart, just across the spectrum of activists and whistleblowers and journalists and politicians. And, it's just, I'm seriously so pumped about it. I cannot wait.
I don't know if you mentioned Daniel Ellsberg, did you?
Did I mention who? I'm sorry?
Dan Ellsberg.
Oh, yes, I think I did. I was trying to scroll and read just like whoever grabbed. I'm pretty sure I did. But yeah, Dan Ellsberg obviously is, kind of the grandfather of whistleblowing in the United States a little bit.
He was invited, but he only just confirmed, I think, very, very recently. I just heard last night that he'd confirmed. So yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if maybe I shouldn't say. I've been trying to help get some other people as well. So I think that there may be some additions later on. We'll see. I was trying to help Deepa. Deepa and I have been trying to work on some stuff. So yeah, and I'm going to interview Deepa. But I'm going to interview Deepa on Facts on the Ground too, my other show. So you guys watch out for that. It's either going to be tomorrow or Thursday. We're trying to work out timing for that because we're trying to promote this as much as possible. So we'll have that out before Saturday for sure.
Yeah, monumental event.
Yeah, one of the last times the community came together for something like this was World Press Freedom Day last year. That was one of our really large I think it was actually like a 28-hour stream that started with Alex over in New Zealand and then circled all the way back around it. And I think she was on camera for like 22 or 23 hours, like hosting the whole thing. So I'm glad. I'm amazed to see.
She is a badass. If you guys don't know who Alex Hills is, you should know who she is. You can follow her at Candles for Assange. She also has another Twitter, but I can't remember the handle off the top of my head. But Candles for Assange is the important one because that's where she updates all of the global Assange events, and she is amazing at keeping all that stuff organized and promoted. I don't know how she does it.
It's Greenweaver Arch, I think the name.
That's it. Yeah, Greenweaver Arch or something like that. Yes, I couldn't come up with that off the top of my head.
Well, Alex came over to the whole way from New Zealand to Australia for a WikiLeaks event that I was organising in Sydney, And on World Press Freedom Day last year, Joe and I dropped in to Alex's vigil, and so did Commander X. Actually, I think that's the last time we ever spoke to him, and haven't heard from him for a long, long time since. So I don't know what's happened to him. Yeah, but it's funny because we'd only just arrived, and she said, David McBride's just coming in soon, Cathy. I thought you could interview him. See ya.
No pressure, Cathy.
Stuff like that's so much fun, though. But one of
Yeah.
the things I did want to ask, we had massive showings of support across the globe for Julian on World Press Freedom Day yesterday. So I just wanted to kind of kick it over to you to talk about like everything that people are saying about him, whether and all the support that's come out in the last, I don't know, 24 to 48 hours in defense of him.
You would ask me? I've
Yeah,
been
just like
editing
your thoughts about it. How
She's been editing all day long. She has no idea what's happening.
all day, all night. And unfortunately, I didn't have the time to go, looking to see what was coming out. You tell me.
We did. Okay. So we did actually see quite a significant amount of support, which is encouraging. And I'll keep it positive because there are a lot of people that I could tear into for their silence. But we'll just stick with the support that we saw because I think that's more important. But there was, a significant, the thing that I love the most is that, people like Anthony Blinken, whatever, posted about how, the United States is all about press freedom and protecting journalists. And so many people tore into him. Which was amazing to see. I mean, I think he got ratioed. The comment section underneath of it is nothing but free Assange, free Assange, free Assange. I mean, so many people ripped into him. Same Kamala Harris mentioned something about World Press Freedom Day, and she got ripped into for it as well. Some politicians from Australia mentioned World Press Freedom Day. They got ripped into. So it was really nice to see people calling out the hypocrisy of, the UK and Australia and the US for what they're doing to Julian Assange. So that was really nice to see. I was going to make a slideshow of some of the support that we did see, but my computer, as I mentioned at the top, I'm having technical issues today. My computer would not cooperate. But yeah, there was I can just read some of the ones that I got screenshots of if I can get past all the cat pictures. But I mean, people like Edward Snowden obviously spoke out. Abby Martin, our friend Christine Olivio, who is running for office in Florida, spoke out. She's a solid supporter. Quentin Dempster, Andrew Wilkie, he's been a great supporter. Richard Burgeon, Ryan Knight, Proud Socialist on Twitter. He has a massive platform and he was very vocal. Sarah Abdallah, who I love, I adore her. Amnesty International tweeted something out. Fiorella from Convo Couch, who we love. Green Party. You guys know I don't do electoral politics, but the Green Party has been solid on their support for Assange, so that's good. Nick from Fred Hampton Leftist tweeted out. James Kennedy, who is a musician from the UK. Jesse Jett, who's a friend of the show and wrote a fantastic spoken word piece on Julian Assange. If you guys haven't had a chance to check that out, he performed it on a vigil. He also performed it on my show, but it's called Conviction Winter in Belmarsh, and it is so powerful. So yeah, definitely check that out. Neil Clark, John Smith, who is the son of Harry Leslie Smith. So he was very vocal in his support. That's just a few of the ones that I just happened to grab some screenshots of, but it was a significant, Assange was trending on Twitter, which if you know the amount of shadow banning that happens on Julian Assange tweets, it is significant. Trust me, it is significant. And so the fact we were able to break through that and get him trending speaks volumes about the amount of support that we saw yesterday.
Well, wasn't it the Assange defense account that was temporarily suspended as well? I saw that
on World Press Freedom Day. It's like they're not even trying to hide it. It's amazing.
There's a good example.
Well,
I
they
haven't
are
checked
trying
yet
to
if they're
hide it,
back
and
up.
that's
I
why
hope
they
they're
would
back up.
suspend that account, but they don't know how, right? Because they like this has been the most private trial in the entire world. And I
Yes.
think that the establishment had just hoped that it would fall away into silence, people would lose track. And so they think that just silencing one account is enough. When that one
They
account is the
clearly have not
smallest
met
piece
me.
in the entire puzzle of freeing Julian at this point, or at least building online support.
Yeah,
Well, that's
we've
right.
been working very hard on that.
I think this is emerging as a kind of solution. I remember that there was this live talk that Julian did in 2013, and there was me and Passarelli who were sort of on either end of that, helping out to get him across. And I cut that down to a 16-minute clip. I don't know if you've seen it, which was just highlights of what Julian said. But I put this animation, it was quite a well-known one, of this big fish that's chasing all the little fish, right? And then it goes off screen, and then it comes back, and then all of the little fish, have formed together as a shoal, the shape of an enormous fish that is chasing the big fish back. And I think this is emerging as a solution for all this. That if there's this collective roar, if everybody keeps saying the same thing and rhyming. I remember my mother used to say, stop rhyming, but that's exactly what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind reading, all of that information again and again. It just reminds me, because it is such an incredibly complex case. But I think that's what's happening now. And so, the whack-a-mole thing, they try to get one, and then in fact, there's 1,000 more that pop up.
And I think we've been saying that on this show for the longest time. The only thing that is going to affect change in this case will be mass public pressure. It is going to take a huge amount of public pressure to get them to do the right thing here, because we can't appeal to their better angels. They don't have any. So it's going to take just complete force. Like Andrew said about the whistleblowing event, it's a show of force. Like, we need to be loud. And some people get mad because I tweet about Julian Assange too much. I really do not care. I really do not. I will continue to do that. And I wish more people would do it. There are a lot of people who do that. And I kind of love it because, yesterday somebody came at me with he's a Russian, blah, 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 blah. And I don't always have time to go back and forth with these people and try to educate them. And so I had gone back and forth with this person a couple of times, and then multiple people like that follow me jumped in and were like, oh, but no, here's this piece of evidence and here's this piece of evidence. And it was like a tag team effort of dispelling the myths and cutting through the propaganda. And that is what we need. We need that kind of team effort, because I'm only one person. I can't run around Twitter trying to educate everybody. My friend Kaylee is only one person. She's great on Twitter. She, is very helpful to me, and we kind of tag team things. But I'm starting to notice that it's become more of a team effort where people will see me in kind of a battle with somebody on Julian Assange, and they jump in and they know what they're talking about, and they're very quick about, dispelling the myths. And it's awesome. It's really cool to see.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit like the idea of the mic check, back in Occupy days, when there may not have been amplification, but if the whole crowd repeated what the person said, then people heard it so far away, right?
Yes.
Except that it's the equivalent of that online. And you notice more and more people that are coming in and starting to say, oh my God, what the hell has been happening for the last 10 years? Except those politicians at the top, but their position is becoming more and more uncomfortable. When they start waxing hypocritically about World Press Freedom Day, and they've got, Julian Assange, don't look over here. But everybody's just screaming, it's behind you.
Yes. That was so encouraging to see, because it really was the entire comment section underneath those tweets, just blasting them with, calling out their hypocrisy. And that's what we need. That's exactly what we need. We need just mountains of people piling on these politicians, and just like unrelenting. We need to be unrelenting. Just go after it. And that's really what we saw yesterday. It was really encouraging. It gave me kind of a morale boost. Because it feels like we're getting through to people. I can't tell you the number of times somebody has contacted me on Twitter or whatever and said, I had no idea what was going on, and it's because of your tweets that I'm paying attention now. And so it does work. It really does work. You can say whatever you want about Twitter. It is kind of a hell site, and it's very toxic at times, but it is a very effective tool, for sure.
Well, that's right, and it's a big family now. That this whistleblowing festival, all these people, they're seeing each other more often. They're speaking on the same platforms or similar platforms. There's more, as you said, there's more kinds of people. There's experts. There's doctors, psychiatrists, legal experts, all kinds of people that are just in to advise and to bring their knowledge with them, and those voices carry a lot of weight. When you've got we have Alexander Mercouris, who comes on to CN Live as a legal consultant, legal analyst, and he spent 12 years in the Royal Courts of Justice, so he really knows the British law, and he can well advise. He tries not to be too optimistic because he got burnt. So did I. I got burnt in 2012. I went to the Supreme Court in London when Julian was, right at the very, very end. And Alex thought for sure that he was, they were going to, on points of law, that he wasn't going to be extradited. And it was just so weird, so twisted. That was a linguistic sort of twist. There was what do you call it? Autorité judiciaire, a judicial authority. What it meant in French was slightly different. So they were going to go with the French definition. It's like, what the, this, you wouldn't have thought this could happen. Legal anomalies like that. So,
Yeah, these people don't care about the law. That's very clear. If they did, this case would have been thrown out the window a very long time ago. The amount of human rights abuses and just complete nonsense that's gone on in this case should have had it thrown out the window, set on fire, and never talked about again, or studied for its complete ridiculousness. But yeah, they don't. We're not going to win this by either A, appealing to their better angels, or B, through actual legality. They do not care.
Well, I mean, the thing is that what we find that we're fighting for now, I mean, Article 3, which is, the mental health exception, Julian's mental state is fragile. Alex told us that it's almost impossible to overturn normally an Article 3 decision, right? The kind of decision that Julian got, and yet the Americans are having a go at it. And so it's what we're fighting over is it's not just Julian, it's and it's not just the law. It's also your First Amendment, the European Convention on Human Rights. Oh God, here in Australia we have nothing. We don't even have a Bill of Rights here. But you've got these 3 acts. I don't know if you read that very long article by Joe about the history of the Espionage Act, but they're all coming from Australia's, America's, and the British one, the Official Secrets Act. They all come from a common origin, and ours is called the 1914 Crimes Act, and then it was updated in December 2018 and renamed the Espionage and Foreign Interference Act, and it came much more into lockstep with the 1917 Espionage Act. and the unmentionable 1918 Sedition Act, which is it really gone? But it's all coming from the one place, and this has been a very destructive thing, particularly in 1918, because there was sort of a blanket ban on reporting on Spanish flu. You weren't allowed to print anything. Publishers weren't allowed to print anything that criticized the government or interfered with undermined the war effort. And so that was something that wasn't spoken about so much in America and all around Europe, except, of course, Spain, which was neutral. That 500 million people ended up getting infected with Spanish flu. I mean, imagine if we weren't allowed to report on COVID. It would have been the same story, and 50 million people died. And, thankfully, we are getting a lot of reporting on this pandemic, but, it would have been so much worse. It would have been like India, I suppose.
Well, even with the reporting that we're allowed to have on COVID-19, if you say actual proven medical treatments that have been spoken about on the floor of the Senate, you can lose your channel. We have if you mention any of the not ventilator treatments, essentially, YouTube can just take your channel right off the air.
Yeah, if you mention ivermectin, you can lose your channel.
Yeah.
Just by saying that word.
Yeah, and last month, actually, I've talked about this a billion times, but I love it. The University of Chicago released a study by at least 9 different departments that verifies that smoking THC or CBD or eating it, basically cannabis, helps not only block coronavirus entry into the cell, stops the replication within the cell, and boosts your immune system to be able to catch up and respond to it in time. And so literally you can smoke marijuana and, according to the University of Chicago, beat coronavirus and build your own immunity. But that's not even being talked about or circulated, while at the same time that drug has a Schedule 1 ban for no medical application.
Well, don't do it then. Don't do it.
We won't talk about any of those.
What was banned in 1918 was mention of the very existence of the disease. The very existence. And so it just kept spreading. Yeah.
Amazing.
There is a very good historical account of this, history.com, which I sent through to Joe, and he put a link to it. So how people weren't allowed to
I think that this really speaks back to your point, though, that this isn't about Julian Assange. This is about, they want complete control over the narrative. And so they don't want dissent. They don't want people like Julian Assange to form a WikiLeaks and expose their secrets and their crimes and all of that stuff. So this, I mean, and I say this all the time. I know I'm probably a broken record, and I'm sorry, but it really is so much bigger than just Julian Assange. His life is absolutely worth fighting for and saving, of course. But it's so much bigger than that. And I think a lot of people are missing that bigger picture. They're not seeing the threat that we are under. And it's not just what's happening to Julian Assange. This has been going on for a long time. The First Amendment in the United States has been under attack for decades. And we're seeing it now, manifest itself in anti-protest laws and, all of the things that are going on. And that this is just another piece of that. But this is a huge piece of that. This is a journalist being charged under the Espionage Act for the first time ever. And that is... really a monumental turning point for this country. And if we allow that to happen, that sets an unbelievably dangerous precedent that it's impossible to come back from. Once you lose rights, it's really hard to get them back. And it's frustrating to me because those rights were really hard fought just to get. And now we're virtually giving them away. We're giving them back. We're handing them over, through silence and people not being willing to speak up about this. We have progressive politicians in Congress right now who won't even mention his name. And yesterday, not a single progressive politician in this country even mentioned World Press Freedom Day. Not one of them mentioned it at all. And that's troubling to me. To be somebody who claims to be of the left or a progressive and not talk about the single most dangerous threat to the First Amendment in modern history, maybe ever, that's sketchy to me. That's a problem.
Mm. So you're on dumpster.social, is that? So that's got nothing. You can lose this channel as well.
This is just, it's kind of like the Zoom. So we're on, like our channel is on YouTube. But this is just like the Zoom
I see.
aspect. So it's, yeah, but it's a much better, more encrypted version.
So you're talking about,
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about it at all. I know a little bit about it, but I don't want to talk about the technical aspects of it. It's just that it's quite secure. Yeah, but so you were talking about losing your YouTube channel if you mention the I word. Is that right?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, you
That's
can't,
right.
basically you cannot go against the establishment narrative at all. If you talk about immunizations in a less than positive way, you can get in trouble for that too. Yeah, it's, I mean, you have to be very careful. People have to like spell things weird in their titles, and you have to use code words to, you know, be able to talk about certain things if you want to talk about it. But that's really just for YouTube. YouTube is absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
If, I mean, on Rockfin, we don't have to worry about that. We can say whatever the hell we want. I think Odyssey is kind of the same way. There's not a lot of censorship on Odyssey either. But YouTube is terrible. YouTube, I mean, it's a Google-owned company, and Google is very much in the pocket of the Democratic Party, or the Democratic Party is very much in the pocket of Google, I guess I should say, and really just the establishment. And so if you go against the establishment narrative, on anything, really, you can lose your channel. And we've seen it happen to friends of ours.
Yeah, no, I suppose so. But I mean, what I'm talking about is just so it's another level of silencing. Like, what's the Harold Pinter said, you know, all of these countries in America invaded regime changes, and, you know, but it never happened. Even while it was happening, it never happened. It was of no interest, right?
Well, there's a funny word that everyone talks about when they talk about like the expansion of the intelligence agencies and all that, and it's the term lockstep, which to normal people means one thing, but for like Henry Kissinger, for example, wrote a document called Lockstep that basically explains the world that we're living in right now. To the point that he talked about releasing bioweapons on the public to build support against vaccinations and to build anti-lockdown protest movements, and then come in with another wave, a heavier bioweapon that essentially kills those people that are actively in the streets fighting against it. So it's just a really, like, our place in time and history right now is just so crazy to see all of these different convergence of things that we're told don't exist or that only crazy people think are real happening in real time, but collectively being ignored by the institutions that we previously thought were there to protect us.
Well, that's right. I think this is the realization that we have to come to. And when you look at that Spanish flu example and other kinds of censorship, you start to realize how lethal it is to have information withheld from you. How deadly. And when you look at the revelations of WikiLeaks, like in Iraq, 15,000 bodies whose names weren't listed. And when these kinds of things are not known, then they can be perpetuated. So it's the danger is for us, really. The greatest danger is for us. And I think that's what Julian said at one point. This isn't about me. This is about you.
Yes. No, they're not trying to silence him. I mean, they are, but he's really just the head on the stake. He's the warning. He's the the person that they're using as a way to get their point across, that this is what happens when you mess with us. So they're trying to make sure that nobody else will ever do what he did. And it's been very effective. If you look at the state of media right now, today, it's been very effective. There's been an unbelievable chilling effect across media. We even have independent content creators self-censoring, admittedly self-censoring, because they know that they will come for you. They'll come for your channel. They'll come for your Patreon. They'll come for your PayPal. They'll make sure that you can't function in the independent media space. And so we have a lot of people like self-admittedly censoring themselves so that they don't get in trouble. It's not good. It's really not good.
Well, I mean, it's really not good to not have integrity in your historical record for people not to know what the hell's going on. And I don't see Julian as a dissident. I see him as somebody who just wants to get the facts straight. It couldn't be less dissident.
No, and that's such a crucial point, because I don't know why anybody doesn't want the truth. Why wouldn't you want to know what is being done in your name by the people running your country? I want to know those things, especially given the fact that we know that these are people who are, I mean, I don't think it's hyperbolic to say that these are psychopaths. They constantly lie. They commit war crimes. They murder people. I mean, our government is poisoning people in Flint, Michigan, still to this day. Like, we know they're being poisoned. It's still happening. And Flint isn't the only place where that's happening. Look at what they did to the protesters at Standing Rock. Look at what they're doing right now to protesters across the country, to journalists across the country. I mean, it's not like we don't know what these people are capable of. And I don't want those people operating in complete darkness. I don't want those people being able to do whatever they want, whenever they want, with no accountability and no transparency. That's insane. Absolutely not. And, I think Julian also said there needs to be privacy for the people and complete transparency for people in power. And right now that's completely reversed. We have no privacy whatsoever as the general population. They have access to every phone call, every email, every text message. They monitor everything they do. There's probably an NSA agent watching this stream right now. And, now Joe Biden, I know, right? Wave. Now Joe Biden wants to privatize the surveillance state so that he can keep an eye on extremists, whatever the hell that means. And that's a problem. But they can do whatever they want. And we have no ability to, A, even know what's happening, and then B, that completely removes any capability that we have to hold them accountable for their actions. That should scare everybody.
Oh, we can do it. We can keep shouting out quite loud, the whole choir. That's bullshit. Calling bullshit all the time.
Yes.
The lie going around the world very quickly. The truth catches up with it on Twitter in 2 minutes, right?
Yeah, we saw that yesterday.
So we had an interesting development in the UK that we're going to talk about when we start doing news later on. But I was just wondering if you had a chance to read any of the diary entries or articles about Alan Duncan,
Yes, we broke that news to the Australian. Joe and Elizabeth broke that news to the Australian politicians. That's how we opened our show. We just read from Sir Alan Duncan's memoirs, and it was, up the top floor of the Foreign Office and Operation Pelican, and somebody wearing the pelican tie, and I mean, they're just such little boys,
So true.
The most shocking thing is how brazen he is about it. That, he just feels so perfectly confident that he's going to get away with this. Stefania Marizzi exposed the Crown Prosecution Service interference in the Swedish case. And now you've got Duncan interfering with Ecuador, right? And the most surprising thing is that actually Elena Moreno is the last one to give in. That he was, for obviously because his name was going to be shit, because he was breaking Ecuadorian law. He couldn't, there was no extradition for Ecuadorian citizens. There's a blanket law against it. And so he had to revoke Julian's citizenship without any due process. So there's a whole string of laws, even Ecuadorian laws that he broke, no due process, and also international laws as well. What is hideous is that Duncan is orchestrating a refoulement, which is against, that's giving a refugee back to the persecutors. He's actually organizing that, and that's against international law. And, the UK is, well, this mob that are in there, in the FCO and CPS, so not all of them, of course, but, the FCO in particular, they seem to think they're above the law. Certainly, they're not actually above the European Convention on Human Rights. That's Alex Makouras told us that's still the law of the land. They didn't stop becoming signatories. So, the freedom of violation of Julian's human right of freedom of movement, for example. Yeah, they know they've done that. Arbitrary detention, they've done that. Yeah. So
there
they're
was
not
even
even
a line where Duncan himself, in his private memoir, in his diary, refers to it as Assange's supposed human rights.
Oh,
Yeah,
it really is. You're right. They are so incredibly brazen about it. I mean, like I said earlier, there's so many things about this case that should have it just thrown out the window. It's ridiculous that we've gotten to this point. And I don't know. I mean, we have seen a lot of people start to pay attention more over the last couple of years, but I don't know. It's really difficult for me to find the words to make people understand how dangerous this is. It's
very dangerous.
if they'll do it to Assange, they will do it to you. They will absolutely do it to you. And right now, they are systematically destroying the First Amendment in broad daylight, violating this man's human rights. I mean, in so many ways, like out in the open. They're not even hiding it. And that should concern everybody, because that's something that if they're going to do it to him, they'll do it to you. They'll do it to anybody. And it's really the United States claiming international jurisdiction over the media, over the press, over journalism. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't want the United States having complete control over information.
Well, over the sovereignty of other countries as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The thing
I mean, they
in
essentially said in court that we have the right to go and get anybody, anytime, anywhere who prints, publishes, says something that we don't like. That's scary.
The thing that I'm most interested in doing is trying to figure out the timeline of Duncan's journal entries, because that shows the UK and Ecuador. And then taking like the Cassandra Fairbank leaks that show the US and the UK, and what they were doing behind the scenes to coordinate Assange's removal, and then placing that in the context of the
US and Sweden, and how the US was pressuring Sweden to amp up the pressure.
So because this puts almost like a final piece of the puzzle for the names that were involved. You have like the Rick Grinnells, the Sheldon Adelsons, and now you have the Alan Dunkers or Duncans and like Richard Moores. So it's
Dunker, okay.
so it's finally us being able to shine a light on these people and say, like, look at what they have done for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. It's nice to be able to turn it around on them every once in a while.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd actually come for me then, but I'm probably not worth their time. But, they start at the top with the most efficient. The people that matter, that talk about the information that matters the most, that rock the boat the most. And, unfortunately, those, people like Julian are the ones we need. The fearless ones that are, just think that the truth is much too important. And covering up the truth is, as I've come to think about it, is much more lethal.
Yes.
It's dangerous. You know,
Hundred
he's the one.
percent.
It's a very altruistic thing to do.
It is,
Put
and it's
yourself-
you're right. It is very brave, and I often like to bring this point up because it's still one of like the most badass things I can think of. But Julian Assange was years into illegal and arbitrary detention in the Ecuadorian embassy in London. Already knew that he was public enemy number one of the biggest superpower on planet Earth and its intelligence community. And in 2017, he released Vault 7 any damn way. You know, like that's courage. Like, I mean, that's the biggest CIA leak in history. And he did that while already in illegal and arbitrary detention, while already knowing that he was public enemy number one to these people. And, you know, these are the most powerful and depraved people on planet Earth. And he didn't care. And he published it anyway, because it's important and it's, you know, historical record and it means something and it should be known. And that to me, it speaks volumes about the kind of person that he is. I don't know if I'd have that kind of courage. I would like to think I would, but I doubt it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is that Julian has always got a hell of a lot of support from people for what he does. He's got over 20 awards as well. So, you know, it's very weird. It's what an incredible reversal of fortune to be the Time magazine Person of the Year, People's Vote. He won the Walkley Award, which is our equivalent of the Pulitzer. And it's for exactly the same publications that he won all those awards back then, that he's you know, he's been hounded and is threatened with, you know, life in a metal shoebox, which I don't think that he'll take. But it's kind of scary, you know. You keep thinking, well, normally this should happen, but as Christine Assange pointed out, it's always anomalous in Julian's case. He's always the exception in terms of the punishment. You know, and the British are, you know, the very fact that they charged him with bail violation, I mean, even that is legal fiction, because, you know, the refugee law, international refugee law, trumps, you know, bail violation by a mile. He had the right to go to that embassy and ask for, especially considering what the British were doing in the country where he was at the time.
That was actually part of the argument that the person I mentioned earlier on Twitter was saying, that, you know, he ran and hid in the Ecuadorian embassy, and that's such a pervasive myth. He didn't run and hide anywhere. He legally sought asylum, as is his right to do, and he was justifiable in doing so. He didn't run and hide from anything. He knew what they were doing, and he was 100% right. And it's you know, that's one of the and again, everybody should go and download Caitlin Johnstone's article, The Debunking Assange. It's massive, but she goes through point by point all of the ridiculous propaganda that's out there and debunks it, and it's an invaluable resource for any Assange supporter. Everybody should have it on standby.
Yeah,
Real
I know
time.
it. I know it.
Cathy, I want to thank you for joining us for
Yes,
this
we know
whole
you're
hour.
tired and busy, and
If you could just give everybody some final thoughts and let them know where they can find you and what projects you have coming up.
Oh, well, I'm CN Live, always there. CN Live this Saturday with Margaret Kimberley and Garland Nixon, The Future of Racism. That's going to be a very interesting show. So I've got that coming up before the Whistleblowing Festival, and then Consortium News will be streaming. I haven't talked to about fine detail about that, but a priori we're streaming the entire event, so I won't sleep for 30 hours. So you
need
can
some
see
naps,
me,
Cathy.
I'm the one with the 2 matchsticks trying to keep my eyes open.
Oh goodness. Yeah.
Where's
Well, we
Steve,
appreciate
by the
all of
way?
your hard work on that for sure. Because yeah, CN Live's one of my favorite things to watch. Everybody should be checking that out. And I'm really excited for that Margaret Kimberly and Garland Nixon conversation. Those are two amazing voices. So that will be awesome. And yeah, everybody should definitely check out the whistleblowing event on Saturday. It's going to be epic. I can't wait for, I mean, obviously, as you guys can tell, I'm like gushing over it. I'm super pumped.
Oh, and one other thing, coming up on 21st of May is John Kiriaku's first show. So
oh,
you know
right. Yes, I forgot. Yeah, he's joining. That's amazing. I'm pumped about that too. He's one of my favorite people too. Like,
yeah,
he's been on the show several times. He's awesome.
now he's
So
going to
yeah.
be a host.
So that's May 21st, you said?
That, yeah, John will be doing one show a month. And that will be, you know, Joe's our editor-in-chief, but, you know, there's a certain amount of, well, you've got to find your own guests, and it'll be very much John's topic. So we don't know what his, I do actually know what his next one is going to be about. It's something to do with prisons, right? Well, unless he changes his mind, of course. I shouldn't announce this topic before it's finally confirmed, but that's what we think he's going to be doing.
Anything he does will be worth watching.
Yeah. I don't know if I should say this on air. Oh, fuck it. Why not? So he quite likes the idea of inviting Brian Becker on with him. I proposed that. You can bring Brian on if you like, because we all miss Loud and Clear so much. And
yeah,
said,
Loud and Clear was awesome. Loud and Clear was awesome. I was sad to see that end.
Yeah, he said, I so miss doing that show with Brian, you know. So they yeah, we might get the duo one of these times. I don't know if it'll be for the next show, but coming up in the future, we'll probably
a nice reunion. That'll be awesome.
One more Becker and Kiriaku. Yeah,
nice.
Well, we're very excited about John having agreed to become a host. Joe was getting terribly busy, and he wanted to, you know, he wrote that really big article. It took him the best part of a year to write that history of the Espionage Act. And he just this year he said he wanted to do more writing. So I said, well, that doesn't mean less shows. I want another host. I want Kiriaku. I want Kiriaku.
Nice said, get, Cathy. Nice get.
And John was really delighted to be amazing.
Asked. Well, we know you're very busy and very tired, so we'll let you get out of here so you can try to get some rest. And you know, we'll talk to you soon for sure.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes. Thank you. We appreciate it.
See ya.
I love her, and she has to be exhausted.
Right. She's always doing everything.
I know.
So I just appreciate her having a free hour and a half to hang out with us, because that was awesome.
Yes, it always is. She's great.
So
all right, what are we gonna cover first, homie?
I want to give a shout out to a new media crew that's putting the Vigil up on their channel. It's KRTD Media Group. They're a conglomerate of independents, libertarians, Green Party members, no party affiliates, and apolitical people that all came together to start making shows to make sure different aspects of, like, essentially political life get covered and activism get covered. So it's just a really cool blend, and they offered to allow us to stream on their channel. So we put that up.
Shout out. What's the KRTD?
KRTD Media.
Are they on Twitter?
I think so, yeah.
I'm just making sure I follow them. I do not. They follow me though. Sorry guys. I'm a really bad follow backer.
In the chat for everybody too.
I'm a really terrible follow backer. Somebody got pissy with me about it the other day, and here's the thing, homies. If you saw the amount of hate follows that I get, you would understand. I don't just follow anybody back. I can't, because there are a lot of people that follow me that stalk me and harass me, and no, not doing it. So I gotta like feel you out first. You know, I gotta vet you. Yeah, shout out KRTD.
Yeah, huge
That's
thanks.
awesome.
We have the They have a bunch of hosts, like tons of hosts, but we're gonna have 4 of them join us either next Tuesday or next Saturday, depending on like times and schedules and everything. So I'm super.
Oh, we should probably mention that this Saturday we will most likely not be doing a vigil because of the whistleblowing event. We don't want to step on that. So just a heads up in
We'll
advance that we're
probably
probably
just be streaming it on our channel
yes.
that whole time.
Yeah. So just so everybody knows, we have no desire whatsoever to intrude on that event. Everybody should be watching that. So there will be no vigil this coming Saturday.
I'm excited to try to watch through the whole thing or see how much of it I can get.
We should do like a watch party on Discord and see.
That would be cool.
That would be kind of fun, actually. I'm down for that. And also Kendra's event on Saturday. Kendra in Denver has an event on Saturday at the Capitol building. She is going to be streaming the whistleblowing event there. So you can still attend the rally and not miss the event. So make sure you get there if you're in Denver.
And there's other events. Check out Candles for Assange because there's events all across the world every single weekend now.
Yes.
Multiple
I mean,
events in the U.S. So
yeah.
See if there's one near you. Candles for Assange is that handle. Also Greenweaver Arch. Huge shout out to Alex for everything she's still doing.
Yes. And if there's not an event near you, be the event. Our pals in Oklahoma are kicking ass. I mean, they will go out there, even if it's just like 3 of them with some signs on the street. They're out there all the time and they are kicking ass. So that's all you need. Poster board, a Sharpie, and yourself. That's it.
Yep, that's how every single crew has gotten started. The Boston crew,
Yep.
which regularly gets 15 to 30 people turning out every single or every other weekend, started out just as one person like, hey, I got to do something. We have a group in Texas that popped up. I think it's just 1 or 2 people that went out with signs and literally just walked around with their signs up. So I was super excited to have them going on as well. So be the protest in your community, whether you want to share it with us or with social media or not. They cannot censor real life signs unless they pull them down. So it's a big going out, putting them up, doing banner drops even if you can. Speaking of banner drops, the billboards.
Oh, billboards. Okay, so I'm a little disappointed because I called today to try to finalize everything and the lady wasn't there. So I'm waiting for a call back. I was hoping I would get it today. I did not. So I'm a little annoyed, but I'm trying to be patient. I think that I contacted Bean. I haven't heard back that I know of. But I think I'm going to go with, okay. I did hear back from Bean actually just now, literally just now, which is weird that I'm talking about this. But I'm going to get, I don't know if you guys are familiar probably with the picture of Julian with the American flag over his mouth. I think we're going to go with that with journalism is not a crime, free Assange. Keep it very simple. And I think that will be very eye-catching. So Bean is going to work on making that billboard friendly for me. And then hopefully tomorrow I'll hear back from the billboard company so that we can get everything finalized. I also did the whole withdrawal thing from GoFundMe. This is the first time I've ever run a GoFundMe. So I had no idea what I was doing. But yeah, they said that they're going to, because the campaign was so successful, they're going to look into my bank account or something further. So they said that can take up to 1 to 3 days. I really don't give a shit. I'll just pay for it if I have to, and then just reimburse myself.
That's the thing that GoFundMe did to me, and what we ended up having to do was basically surrogate the money to another person.
Well, I have like a legitimate bank account. Yeah. Like it's like through a major bank.
If yours is like a real like grown-up bank, then you'll probably be fine.
Yes, I have a real grown-up bank. It's like a legitimate big name bank. So I don't think I'll have any trouble. I don't really care if I do. I probably shouldn't. My husband will freak out, but but yeah, I mean, I don't think that it'll be a problem. I think it was at like 3,700.
You're just under $4,000. You're
yes,
like
which is
unbelievable.
You guys, that's unbelievable. I've already started looking at locations. If you live in an area that you think would be ideal for something like this, please let me know, because I'm just me. Like I can't like go everywhere and scope out a bunch of sites and all that stuff. So I need help with that. If you have a location that you think would be, what's the word I'm looking for? Receptive to a free Assange message, or if you live in a community that you think would be, it would be beneficial for us to put a billboard in it, please let me know. I'm eyeballing potentially maybe Cincinnati or Cleveland, because those are both places that I can travel to myself and check out. I'm also looking at possibly Indianapolis, because that's only a 3-hour drive. So I'm willing to do some driving to like neighboring states and stuff. But if you live somewhere that you think would be awesome for something like this, please let me know, because this, seriously, the GoFundMe has been so successful. I had no idea it was going to work. I would have done this forever ago. I had no idea it was going to be this successful. So yeah, we already have almost $4,000. Like I said, depending on which location I can lock down for sure. It could be anywhere from 1,500 to $3,000. And so we're already like into the next billboard. So I mean, we really could, if we could get, I mean, I don't want to set like any like major goals, because I'm like flabbergasted at how fast this one went. But I mean, if we could get like 6 billboards up within the next couple of months, that would be huge. That's millions of people literally that would be seeing the message. And that would be massive. So yeah, if you guys can donate, please donate. If you can't, don't put yourself in any position where you're going to be financially strapped or whatever. But share the link. The more you share it, the better, seriously, because the more eyes that get on it, then, more people who can spare $5 here and there, will donate. So, definitely share the link. I'm hoping I was hoping to have like a finalized update tonight, but Vanessa at the billboard place was not at her desk today. So, I know, damn it, Vanessa. She's very lovely. Like she's been very helpful, because I had like a shit ton of questions, and I have never purchased a billboard or rented, or however you say it. So I had a ton of questions, and she's been very patient with me and very helpful. And so yeah, she's great. She just wasn't at her desk today, and I was really ready to like be done so that I could update you guys tonight. That didn't work out for me. I did update the GoFundMe, just letting you guys know that I was waiting for the callback. I didn't get it, but hopefully by tomorrow I'll be able to nail all that out. And then hopefully it'll be up very soon. So I'm super pumped about it. I cannot wait for it to be up. I'm going to go and take pictures, and probably an insane amount of pictures, even though it's like pictures of the same thing. And there will be selfies of me with the billboard in the background.
I mean, it's exciting though. It's cool.
It is.
Like
It's
terrible
cool.
of an issue as it is to be excited about putting up for people to see, it is something that's awesome. Like getting it put in front of that many people.
It feels like I'm doing something substantive. You know what I mean? Like I think when you're in this line of activism, there aren't a lot of wins, and there isn't a lot, like you always feel like you're not doing enough and you should be doing more. And this feels like hundreds of thousands of people every single day, or every single week will see this billboard, or at least drive past it. So that's huge. I can't wait. I'm excited. Yes. Yes. Craig Murray is an amazing person, an incredible journalist. He's a whistleblower himself. He is incredibly worthy of your support. Matt Kennard's also awesome. Yes, I can see it. Yes. Yes. And again, Craig Murray, if you are watching, Craig Murray, which I doubt, but if anybody sees this and knows Craig Murray, please show him. We will, whatever fines you get hit with, we will knock that out. I will personally flood my Twitter. I will get on everybody's nerves. We will knock that out. We did it for Chelsea. We will do it for you. Please don't worry about that.
This is from that article that Craig wrote that he released on his website that I put in chat for everybody. On Friday, I shall be sentenced very possibly to prison for contempt of court for jigsaw identification. While I do not believe anybody has ever been imprisoned for jigsaw identification before, my entire persecution has been so perverse that I cannot imagine why they have done it unless that is the intention. With erroneous diffidence and frankly embarrassment, I find myself yet again obliged to ask people to contribute towards my defense fund before my hearing next Friday, to enable us to move forward with an appeal to the Supreme Court. Legal bills actually paid to date amount to over £161,000, with about 8,000 not yet billed. Non-legal costs, including the opinion poll, total around £9,000. The total raised by the defense fund to date is around £143,000, with a balance of around $18,000 paid so far, having been from my personal pocket. So please donate to help Craig. We're going to continue here about what he's actually facing. But the UK court, when they wrote up his indictment, literally reference his coverage of Julian's court trial as to why he is such an important journalist and should be prosecuted. So the judges ruled that publishing any information that could theoretically assist not the public, but literally a colleague who worked in the same office to identify a complainant would constitute jigsaw identification. They also ruled that jigsaw identification was committed if you give a piece of information which could identify a complainant in conjunction with information that could be found anywhere else, no matter how obscure. For example, if information from page 19 of the Inverness Herald 6 years ago combined with information from page 178 of a book combined with something that I published could lead to an identification, I'm guilty regardless of whether or not anybody did in practice actually piece together these obscure sources of information. In fact, the court heard nothing that would pass as evidence in court that any individual had in fact identified anybody as a result of my articles. There was zero evidence of harm. What has been harmful is the gross censorship of my journalism, with my entire daily account of the defense case removed, and my critique of the Gravenel article removed. In consequence, it is once again virtually impossible for anybody to discover why Alex Salmond was acquitted, enabling the massive state and media-led campaign to claim he was really guilty, which sadly appears with the counter-narrative band to have acquired great traction. All the real-world evidence shows that it is untrue. I revealed far less than the mainstream media revealed. It is shameless and an open political persecution of one of the very few platforms of any size which explain the truth about Alex Salmond, which was acquitted by the jury. That was my crime. We have to get this out of I don't know what that word is, the corruption of Edinburgh and into Stratford. It is only possible via the UK Supreme Court, and my legal team are now working on that appeal. I urge you to subscribe not only because the particular injustice of my case, but also because this ruling puts huge power in the hands of the state by making it next to impossible to report on the defense in cases of sexual allegations. Such allegations are a favored tool of the state against perceived dissident threats, like Julian. And this is very dangerous indeed.
Support Craig Murray.
Please and thank you.
The hashtag is hashtag I stand with Craig Murray. If you want to spam Twitter with that, that would be excellent. Share this article with the link included. Donate if you can. He's an excellent person. I mean, I don't know him. I've never met him, but he seems like an excellent person. He's a great journalist.
Craig Murray will be speaking on the Whistleblower Fest at some point during the May 8th rally. He is also, so this is my personal feel on this, right? He is set to go to Spain to testify against the CIA in the UC Global case, which, if people don't know, the UC Global case is essentially how the CIA spied on Julian through the use of Sheldon Adelson, the hopefully dead owner of the Las Vegas Sands Casino. Whole bunch of shit. But Craig's supposed to go and testify in that case as someone who was personally spied on by UC Global and personally digitally strip searched. If they lock him up in prison 2 weeks before he's supposed to go and actually speak out against the CIA, how does that infringe upon him being able to do that, with essentially the UK now trying to lock him down so he can't go over to Spain to testify?
And I don't think it's conspiratorial to think that that's not coincidence. You know,
that's my analysis of the situation, is that they're trying
yeah,
to
and I am
intimidate him
actually
to-
very curious to know what that would mean for his ability to testify. If he is put in prison, what would that mean for his ability to testify in the UC Global case? Because the UC Global case is massive. That's a huge deal. So yeah, I'm very interested. I would be interested to know if anybody knows what kind of influence that would have on his ability to testify there. Let me know.
That probably would have
because
been a good Cathy Vogan question.
That probably would have been, actually. But
I had it lined up, but I didn't want to like keep shooting questions at an already exhausted woman.
I know. She's so great to even just come on, you know, with everything that she has going. So
And I'm sure we can ask Mo at some point. We're gonna have him on later this month.
yeah.
So
Oh, I could just DM him too, I guess. I always forget that he's like a former lawyer guy.
right, like can actually answer these kinds of questions.
Because I like him. And
I
I'm
like to ask him though, because he likes to. He like thinks through it like 3 times, and each time comes to an even better conclusion.
Yes, he's like one of the most thoughtful people. He really like thinks about things. It's one of my favorite things about him. And he's great at explaining things in a very easy to understand way, which I appreciate because British law is confusing for me. So
Just a little bit. What else do we have? I have a couple articles I think we can just get away with putting in chat. It's actually Mohammed Almazi's article on the Canary about World Press Freedom Day.
On World Press Freedom Day. Yeah, there were a lot of really good articles from a lot of amazing people yesterday. Kevin Gastola had a great one in Shadowproof. Mo had one in the Canary. There were a lot of really great articles talking about World Press Freedom Day, the hypocrisy of the United States pretending to celebrate their love of press freedom while they're, you know, torturing Julian Assange. Yeah, so there's a lot. There are a lot of really cool articles. So yeah, if you just want to throw those in chat, I mean, I'm sure people can just check them out.
Yeah,
I don't think they need
them in right now. The Shadowproof one that I'm putting in last is Kevin Gastola's. The first one I put in from the Canary is Mohammed Almazi's. And then the one in the middle is one that Misty shared with me she shared all of them with me. But the one that she sent that puts it in perspective of what Edward Snowden's kind of going through right now. That's the Tribute magazine one. So that's a really cool just look into the perspective of how one person's being heinously mistreated to how someone else is being heinously mistreated.
Yes, that is a good one.
But I have slides put together for that executive order, which we got to go through that because that's fucking horrifying.
Yes, it is.
And then I got to scroll all the way to the front. Have the Alan Duncan stuff So whichever one you want to do first.
I don't care.
We can do it. We'll do the Alan Duncan stuff first, and that's the more topic relevant of the two.
Yeah. What a chode.
Right. Did it come through for you?
Yes. And it's again Matt Kennard. You guys, Matt Kennard's awesome.
To be fair, I think I just fucked up and left Matt Kennard's thing on Craig Murray's article by accident. Just by the way I was making slides and trying to get them done. So that was
okay. Anyways, Matt Kennard is awesome, and I don't know. There's a really awesome DW News or DN News, whatever the hell it is, video. It's less than 5 minutes, but it is like the perfect introduction video to show like your friends and family, like the uninitiated, of why you should give a shit about what's happening to Julian Assange. Everybody should check that video out. It's amazing. He does a great job.
For sure. Do you want to read through this?
I can, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, sorry. I'm like hitting buttons on my computer by accident. No, okay.
So this first slide outlines multiple trips that were taking place between UK government officials and Ecuadorian government officials who become relevant in Duncan's diary entries.
Okay, so the UK government paid £8,330 in November 2018 to bring Ecuador's defense minister, Oswaldo Jaron, I'm guessing, to Britain 2 months before the planned seizure of Julian Assange from the Ecuadorian embassy in London. It can be revealed. 2 months before Jaron's visit in September 2018, the UK government had spent another £12,806 facilitating a 3-day visit by Ecuadorian officials concerned with fighting corruption and money laundering in the country. The evaluation of the trip noted that it had helped the UK government to build strong relationships and that the UK was subsequently commended as a partner of choice to President of the Republic, Lenin Moreno. 2 weeks before Assange was expelled from the embassy on 27 March 2019, Britain's then Deputy National Security Advisor for Intelligence, Richard Moore, spent £4,469 on a business class flight to Ecuador, the logs show. Moore was appointed chief of MI6, Britain's external intelligence agency, just over a year later. The diaries of Sir Alan Duncan, who led the Assange negotiations as UK Minister for the Americas, shed light on the pressure Britain brought to bear on Ecuador after the new government of Lenin Moreno assumed power in May 2017. In 2016, Duncan had met Korea's foreign minister, Guillaume? Long, who was still committed to upholding Assange's right to asylum. An exasperated Duncan lamented in his diaries that Long defends this is the quote that Andrew was laughing at earlier, defends the supposed human rights of Julian Assange. By March 2018, with the Moreno administration in place, Duncan was more helpful and had a one-on-one meeting with Prime Minister Theresa May, where he updated her on Ecuador and Assange. She might want to butter up President Moreno, he wrote. 2 weeks later, he added, I think I am nearly there with Ecuador to get Julian Assange out of their London embassy. It's taken months of delicate negotiations, but nearly. 6 months later, in September 2018, Duncan had a call with Ecuador's new foreign minister, Jose Valencia. We both want Assange out of the embassy, he wrote, but the Ecuador government won't quite yet take the necessary final step for fear of the domestic reaction. In the background, negotiations were clearly taking place, which are not mentioned in Duncan's diaries. In October 2018, Duncan noted, the Assange issue is progressing. Our channels into Ecuador are paving the way to a solution. Then on 8 January 2019, Duncan wrote, annoyingly, Assange's forcible exit from the Ecuadorian embassy has been delayed. Ecuador's government lawyers are now saying that it requires a presidential decree, which will take at least a week or two. Later on that day, Duncan went to the House of Commons to meet the new Ecuadorian ambassador, Jaime Marchan Romero. His principal mission is to get Assange out of the embassy. It has been 6 years, and although he has been aiming for tomorrow, as I just learned, it's going to take longer, a tad frustrating, but we'll get there, Duncan wrote. Duncan's annoyance that Ecuador had delayed expelling Assange increased the following month when he wrote, internal meeting on Ecuador, who have gone quiet on pushing Assange out of the embassy, despite saying it was going to happen on 9 January. He added, it looks as though their foreign minister had said it would happen without explicitly telling the president. Assange is not mentally stable. He has been defecating in waste paper bins. It's a disgusting situation. I insist we lay a clear paper trail tracking our constant demands that he be evicted. Soon after, he noted Ecuador's ambassador is determined to get Assange out of his embassy, but President Moreno requires a final push in order to be persuaded to press the button. After another meeting with the ambassador a fortnight later, Duncan noted, "We are so nearly there in getting Assange chucked out of the embassy." On 11 April 2019, the day Assange was finally seized by UK police, he wrote, "Suddenly it's game on. I'm told Assange will be sprung from the Ecuadorian embassy today. So I drop everything and head to the operations room at the top of the Foreign Office. Operation Pelican is a go. Suitably assisted by one official wearing a pelican motif tie. In the operations room, Duncan watched a live feed when at 10 a.m. plainclothes policemen entered the embassy. We were expecting Assange to be brought out very soon after their arrival. The text of the ops room revealed he had caused a bit of commotion and had been screaming and bawling while edging towards the ambassador's office, at which point he was forcibly restrained." He continued, "Then with military precision, 6 police officers marched up to line up each side of the entrance steps to form a protective corridor through which Assange was bundled out at about 10:20 a.m. Duncan concluded, "So job done at last." And we take a commemorative photo of Team Pelican. It had taken many months of patient diplomatic negotiation, and in the end, it went off without a hitch. I do millions of interviews trying to keep the smirk off my face. I would like to slap the smirk off his face. 2 days after Assange's eviction on 13 April, Duncan noted that he had put Daily Mail journalist Simon Walters in touch with Ambassador Marchand, thus giving the Daily Mail their scoop about the fetid Assange hovel. The pictures of his living conditions were beyond repulsive. 10 days later, Duncan met with Hugo Shorter, head of the Foreign Office's Americas Division. "We are both still basking in the successful release of Julian Assange," he noted. Then in mid-June 2019, with Assange having been incarcerated in Belmarsh Maximum Security Prison for 2 months, Duncan put on a party. "Straight to drinks in my office for all the Operation Pelican team, those who worked on the removal of Julian Assange from the Ecuador embassy," he wrote. "I gave them each a signed photo, which we took in the ops room on the day with the caption saying Julian Assange special Brexit team, 11th April 2019. Jesus Christ, these people are fucking psychopaths.
Isn't that fucking sick?
Oh, God.
Like, that's why I had to, like, make this part so particularly long, is just because of how absolutely gross it is, the way he, like morbidly describes this situation. Because it's more than just him, like, recounting. It's almost like a revelry, in my opinion, by the way that he plays it out, like trying to keep the smirk off of his face, the supposed human rights.
It's so gross. That's so gross. What a scumbag.
Yeah. And, like, honestly,
but I mean, it really just laid bare what we all knew this was happening behind the scenes. We didn't have any proof of it. We knew this was all happening behind the scenes. Everybody did.
But now finally having this timetable to be able to understand what was happening with Rick Grinnell, and when it got leaked that Julian even had a secret indictment put against him, when that became, like, public information, essentially. So this, I don't know, it's just, the words of this man are just fucking disgusting. Like, the fact that he can literally boast about doing multiple interviews trying not to smile.
Yeah. What a scumbag. I'm just blown over by the level of scumbaggery. Jerry in the chat said, quote, "Trying to keep the smirk off my face," unquote. "Here's a message for you, Sir Duncan." And then he gives 3 thumbs up emoji or middle finger emojis. Yeah, that about sums it up. Fuck that guy. These are the people we're up against, though.
Yep, at least we have names now. At least more.
Yeah.
At least for the UK folk. But
yeah.
So this is something that Kendra wanted to talk about, but she wasn't able to make it today. There was an executive order that came out. That's relatively fucking horrifying. And it basically is the end of all constitutional liberty, as it stands in the U.S. And it's fucking terrifying. So I will. Yeah. I'll share this and drop the link for everybody. This is the title of the executive order. It's Executive Order on Blocking Property with Respect to Specified Harmful Foreign Activities of the Government of the Russian Federation. So, if you guys remember when Donald Trump was, I don't know, I think it was just elected or on the campaign trail, he was talking about going after the families of people that oppose the United States. So, this is the Biden administration's version of going after their families. On April 15th, President Biden signed an executive order on blocking property with respect to specific harmful foreign activities of the government of the Russian Federation. Contrary to its title, this executive order is not about Russia. It's designed to allow the Biden administration to deprive American citizens and organizations of their rights and property by arbitrarily linking those persons to real, imagined, or vaguely defined activities of the Russian government. The Biden administration unilaterally makes the determination and requires neither criminal acts nor intent. The punishment is blocking assets and a prohibition on any dealings with the accused person. Spouses and adult children of individuals found guilty by accusation under the EO are punished too. And this is just two sections of this. I'm not going to read through the whole thing because it's just a bunch of legalese words, and I'm sure you can glance at the smaller ones. But Section 1 of the executive order enumerates prohibited activities and defines guilty persons as those determined by the Secretary of the Treasury and/or Secretary of the State in consultation with the Attorney General to be responsible for or complicit in or have to directly or indirectly engaged in or attempted to engage in any of the following behaviors for the benefit of directly or indirectly the government of the Russian Federation. Cyber attacks, interferences in elections, actions or policies that undermine the democratic process, and transnational corruption. Right? So, this next one, do you want to read this one, Misty? Because I'm sure I'll fucking fumble through this. But this literally, within this executive order, gives the power over immigration solely to two specific individuals in the U.S. government.
Okay, so the unrestricted immigrant and non-immigrant entry into the United States of non-citizens determined to meet one or more of the criteria in Section 1 of this order would be detrimental to the interests of the United States, and the entry of such persons into the United States as immigrants or non-immigrants is hereby suspended, except when the Secretary of State or the Secretary of Homeland Security, as appropriate, determines that the person's entry would not be contrary to the interests of the United States, including when the Secretary of State or the Secretary of Homeland Security, as appropriate, so determines, based on a recommendation of the Attorney General, that the person's entry would further important United States law enforcement objectives. Oh, God, that's just ridiculous. Okay. Such persons shall be treated by this section in the same manner as persons covered by Section 1 of Proclamation 8693 of July 24th, 2011, suspension of entry of aliens subject to United Nations Security Council travel bans and International Emergency Economic Powers Act sanctions. Jesus Christ. Yeah, y'all need to go read this. I'm not even kidding you. Please. Yeah, go read it. Go read it. Go read it. This is not good. Which means my Twitter name is Comrade Misty is Putin's buddy. They can come take my house. That's fucked up, you guys. That's crazy. Oh. Oh. I can tweet it out. I think Eva Bartlett sent it to me earlier. I can just retweet her. I just totally name dropped Eva Bartlett. I love her. Oh my. Yeah. I mean, he is Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and Donald Trump was Barack Obama, and Barack Obama was George W. Bush, and George W. Bush was Bill Clinton. It doesn't fucking matter who the president is. It doesn't matter. I need people to get that. It really does not. It's the same agenda. It's just a different cover on the same book. And yeah, Trump was loud and annoying and rude and tweeted too much, but he didn't do anything spectacularly evil in any way. He did nothing that was supremely awful, and people need to get over their Trump derangement syndrome fast because it's really fucking a lot of shit up.
So I messed up and was muted for one of my rants, I think. That's what
I'll
Cat's
tweet out the
saying.
link too.
I was
Fans.
muted by accident. So that's
We're
fun,
so
guys.
screwed.
So the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Homeland Security have full control over screening immigration. That's the super fun times we're in now. While at the same time, like Misty was saying, being able to just seize property at will.
Yeah.
Because you may or may
I
not have been a Russian. And this is after our society has literally just been trained to report people for insert whatever coronavirus issue. So what's the next email that AOC is going to send out? Is it going to be, hey, we need you to report people that you think are Russian meddling? Right? Yeah. Because she's already having people try to report, or telling her millions of followers to report people that are misinformation and fake news. So like, what's the next thing that she's going to have them report people as to get these intelligence agencies turned literally on American citizens, while mainstream media is talking about drone striking people in the U.S. for political beliefs?
Yeah. We're so screwed, dude. We really are. Oh, it's not good. And now, especially, we have Biden wanting to privatize the surveillance state. That's a whole other level.
Honestly, that's just public disclosure of that. Like, it's already been privatized. That's why they can talk about it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
that's I mean, probably just getting ahead of the story of UC Global. Honestly, that's probably gonna blow this private intelligence game out of the water, and they're gonna be like,
anytime something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, anytime something like that comes out, it's not because it's something they want to do. It's because it's something they're already doing. That's always how that works.
And Julian's legal precedent of the judge in the UK saying, well, he was handling national security material, why wouldn't they spy on him? That doesn't mean it has any bearing in this case. That sets that international precedent for something like that to happen.
Sorry, I have a kid yelling at me.
You're good. That's all I had to cover. I don't know if you have any more we can...
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't think I have anything else. We could wrap it up early, I guess. My kid would appreciate it for sure.
Yeah. My name's Andrew Smith. You can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Zigmund, Zigmund. You can follow us on Twitter at action_4 Assange. Big shout out to the MCSC network, who's been a streaming partner with us for a while now, and big shout out to KRTD Media Group for allowing us to stream onto their platform as well. And thank you for Cathy for hopping on to chit chat with us for an hour in the middle of your crazy haze of a day.
Yeah. And I am Misty Winston. You can follow me on Twitter at Sarcasm Stardust. I have another show called Fox on the Ground with Jesse Zerwell. We actually just posted our part 2 of our conversation on Israel-Palestine and the history and all of that stuff. It's super interesting, if I do say so myself. So definitely go and check that out. We're going to be interviewing Deepa either tomorrow or Thursday to talk about the whistleblowing event some more. Hopefully that'll be coming out soon. And also on Wednesdays at 7 p.m., I host a show called Bitch with Comrade Misty. It's just a place for us to vent, fam. Just get some shit off of our chests, and it's a lot of fun. At least for me. I mean, it's really just, it's like for me. people like to watch it, great, but it's really just for me. And obviously the billboards, please donate if you can. Share either way, because sharing is caring, my friends. And the more we share, the more people that donate and the more billboards we can get, which is awesome. As soon as I hear back from Vanessa from the billboard place, I will update you guys and let you know what's going on. Bean is currently working on getting the image that we want done up. And I'm really excited to see how that turns out. I'm really excited to see it up on a billboard. That's going to be super cool. And definitely check out the whistleblowing event on Saturday. And if you're in Denver, go see Kendra at the Capitol building, for sure. And I think that's it, fam. I think that's all I got. So yeah. And don't forget, on this Saturday, because of the whistleblowing event, there will be no vigil. So we'll see you on Tuesday.